Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Kishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. A deadly voyage kills at least 11 Haitian nationals, and authorities are still searching for more bodies. Police are telling us tonight that a 25-cabin type boat left an area near Farm Hill, Treasure Key, Abaco, on its way to Florida. The boat soon started having engine problems and then took on water before sinking near Hawksbill Key, Abaco, last night. 28 Haitians were on board, including 5 children. Police say 7 people have survived and 11 bodies have been recovered so far. Search teams are still looking for the next 10 people. We spoke with Basra's operations manager, Chris Lloyd, today.
We understand that the majority of the missing persons, and unfortunately there were also a large number of children, were Haitians. If you did have a captain who was Bahamian, you want to try and locate that person. It's sometimes hard to do. Sometimes they're Haitian Bahamian and they try and blend in with the migrants themselves so they don't get charged.
Moving to the budget debate ongoing in the House of Assembly, once again the former F&M administration is being accused of bribery during the recent election campaign. MP for Michael and Minister of Agriculture and Marine Resources V. Alfred Gray again charged that persons in his constituency were given jobs for the 52-week job program, and contracts were issued in an attempt to woo voters to support the F&M. Mr. Gray says an audit will be conducted to sort this out.
If you work, go to work. But if you can collect $210 a week on the backs of the poor government that is broke, you got to work for it. And so the audit is going to take place through the administrators in the Family Islands. And if you can't find work for the people to do, let me know. Because it's them who got involved in this thing with this government. The government telling you, you find work for them to do. And most of them couldn't find nothing for them to do. People were managing their own business and being paid.
In terms of Inago, Mr. Speaker, a lot of individuals were hired. A lot of individuals were hired in the 52-week job program because the member knows very well, especially in Inago, a new healthcare facility was opened and you needed staff for that facility. A lot of the 52-week employees met that need.
Well, Minister Gray also told the House of Assembly today that efforts are being made to take a huge bite out of the country's huge food import bill. The Michael MP told the House during his contribution to the budget that the $43 million being allocated to his ministry will assist farmers, among other things. Janaea Noel Ferguson reports.
If I could only get 10 farmers, and we could pump $100,000 and whatever, let them come forward. Let me see what your plan is.
That is the appeal being made to farmers in an effort to shore up the nation's food security position as food and oil costs increase. Mr. Gray said sooner or later we have to become serious about feeding ourselves. To that end, $1 million has been earmarked for farmers wanting to participate in this initiative.
We import right now, Mr. Speaker, more than $500 million worth of food every year. And with the advent of Bahama and the other developments, soon our food bill will be, Mr. Speaker, just about $1 billion per year.
The ministry also hopes to explore areas like fish, conch, and shrimp farming, taking agriculture technology in the Bahamas to the next level. He also warned poachers raping our waters to put an end to this practice and called for stiffer penalties for those that offend.
When we catch them, we got to make examples out of them. Send them to jail for like 10 and 15 years. Take their boats. And not only take their boats, take the boats and give it to Bahamian fishermen. Give it to them. Let them go fishing.
As As for new initiatives, Mr. Gray says his ministry will introduce a food quality section responsible for speeding up the permit process and a regulation sector that they will monitor the types of food and quality of product that is imported.
Bahamians have a right to good food, healthy food, good supply, reasonable prices, etc., etc. And that's why it's my ministry's mandate to ensure that all the foods we bring in is good. Whether it's rice, peas, all that fall under the same ministry. We have to be sure that the food supply is good.
Janae Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Member of Parliament for Angliston, Glenys Hannah Martin, who is also the minister with responsibility for aviation and transport, said the government is hoping to create a paradigm shift in the aviation, maritime, transport, and postal sectors. First on the list, she said, is focusing on the Bahamas gaining control of its airspace from the U.S. government.
Since May 7th of this year, when we were elected, we have already recommenced our efforts. We shall be resuming our discussions with the United States and other regional neighbors. The issues under discussion will include the redefinition of the Bahamas airspace, redefinition, and also the decision whether the Bahamas will, in the short term, either assume full management of its airspace or seek an interim position where the FAA continues to manage it, but however, under an agreement with the Bahamas, which will be to our benefit.
Minister Hannah Martin said a national maritime policy to develop a thriving maritime economy will also be developed along with stakeholders. A modernization plan for docks is also expected to come out of that. Former Works Minister Nico Grant has defended the cost overruns associated with the New Providence Road Infrastructure Project. He was addressing the budget debate this afternoon when he tabled a 25-page document he says explains everything. Here's part of the explanation.
Among the many challenges being experienced with the project were unforeseen site works. A number of sinkholes were discovered, in particular along the Sanders Beach-Thompson Boulevard corridor, and some 10,000 cubic yards of indiscriminately dumped and buried garbage had to be excavated and backfilled with clean material. Underground infrastructure, the discovery of mapped and unmapped and unaccounted for underground utilities required many modifications.
Complaints from Market Street business owners continue to pour in as roadworks continue in the area. Those over-the-hill business owners say the roadworks continue to affect their bottom line. Our Fern Carey spoke with them.
A number of Market Street business owners up in arms, claiming ongoing roadworks in that area is impacting their bottom line. Of particular concern to entrepreneurs like Linda Bain is a 4-inch sidewalk being built right in front of her establishment, restricting customer access.
There are 3 sets of tenants that need access upstairs and downstairs. There are only 4 spaces for parking in front of this building. I've spoken to these roadworks people over and over, letting them know that they have to make sure put a flat surface in front of this building. Nothing is being happening. Now they come and put a big bump, 4-inch bump, taking up half of the building that a truck, you cannot access, a gas truck cannot access here, the regular truck cannot access here, and no one is listening.
Bain says she's complained to all parties involved without success.
You go to Jose Catalini, not a Bahamian voice is there. You call Ministry of Works to speak to Mr. Joy John, Mr. Kurt Smith, they don't answer you back. Well, luckily one Bahamian, Mr. Delancey, he called me back and he said he will deal with the situation, but he realized the stress and pressure that we Bahamians are going through.
But business owners aren't the only ones being impacted. Market Street homeowner Geraldine Pratt says one of her grandchildren was injured in a traffic accident after stepping onto the busy street, and she's wondering why curbing was built in front of her home instead of a sidewalk.
I get 10 grandchildren inside this yard, 10 grandchildren. And when they open that door to come out to go, they can get knocked down. The people speeding on this main highway and I need help. They need to put sidewalk in the front of my door. They promised me I'd be in the city. My name is John. He told me he could send Mr. Delancey. Mr. Delancey was to come Friday. Mr. Delancey didn't show up yet. I've been calling myself. calling, nobody's showing up and nobody coming to see what happening.
Payne and Pratt both believe the roadworks is progressing on Market Street without contractors taking into consideration the needs of those involved. We spoke with Ministry of Works Project Coordinator Shanique Aubrey, who indicated that a number of people did contact their office last week with concerns about sidewalks, curbing, and access points on Market Street. She noted that all of the concerns are currently under review and have been referred to engineers who will now go on site to inspect the areas and address the issues moving forward. However, Aubrey stressed that the new changes could take up to a few months to complete. Fern Carey, ZNS News.
On the weekend, we told you about a government-led pharmacist training and certification program introduced 4 years ago, meant to build capacity in the public service. 10 pharmacist interns have become the first to be deployed at various healthcare centers after completing the 4-year Bachelor of Science program, a collaboration between the College of the Bahamas and University of Technology in Jamaica. Well, Health Minister Dr. Perry Gomez says having more pharmacists in the public service will help to fill a number of deficiencies in the sector, including important work with the National HIV and AIDS program.
For all these many years we've been dispensing AIDS drugs and so on, we couldn't get a pharmacist to work with us. And it's been done over the years by intelligent and competent nurses. And they've done a wonderful job. But as medicines become more complicated and so on, it's right to have a pharmacist, you know. And so soon, I think, with this program now in place, we will have a pharmacist in the National AIDS program.
Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, tired of your cell phone rates? Well, BTC may have some news you can appreciate. Stay tuned. There's more after this.